Question 1. Topic: avoidance powers and fraudulent transfers. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a bankruptcy trustee discovers that the debtor transferred $75,000 to their sibling 6 months before filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The transfer was made without receiving any equivalent value in return. The trustee seeks to recover the transferred amount under the Bankruptcy Code's avoidance provisions. Of the following is the most accurate legal basis under which the trustee may challenge this transfer? A. The transfer is preferential payment under 11 U.S.C. SS 547, allowing the trustee to claw back the amount from the sibling. B. The transfer is fraudulent conveyance under 11 U.S.C. SS 548, as it was made with the intent to hinder, delay, or defraud creditors. C. The transfer is post-petition transfer, which is automatically voided under 11 U.S.C. SS 549, since it was made within 1 year before the bankruptcy filing. D. The transfer is protected under family exemptions and cannot be recovered by the trustee under federal homestead exemption laws. Answer B. The transfer is a fraudulent conveyance under 11 U.S.C. SS 548. Explanation: under 11 U.S.C. SS 548, the Bankruptcy Code allows trustees to avoid transfers made within 2 years before the bankruptcy filing if the transfer is made with actual intent to hinder, delay, or defraud creditors, or the debtor received less than reasonably equivalent value in return and the debtor was insolvent or became insolvent due to the transfer. The transfer of $75,000 to a family member without receiving anything in return meets the criteria for constructive fraudulent conveyance because the debtor did not receive equivalent value and likely diminished their assets to creditors' detriment. A is incorrect because preferential payments under SS 547 require that the transfer be made to creditor within 90 days before filing, or 1 year for insiders like relatives. The sibling is not creditor, so SS 547 does not apply. C is incorrect because post-petition transfers under SS 549 deal with transactions that occur after the bankruptcy filing while this transfer happened before the filing. D is incorrect because exemptions under state or federal law protect the debtor's property, but they do not protect fraudulent transfers. The trustee can still void and recover the funds. Question 2. Topic: Chapter 11. Business reorganization. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a corporate bankruptcy case, a retail company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and is operating as a debtor in possession (DIP). A creditors committee challenges the company's decision to take on new financing, arguing that the company should not be permitted to incur additional secured debt during bankruptcy. Which of the four statements best describes the legal standard under which a debtor in possession may obtain post-petition financing? A. A debtor in possession may not incur any new debt after filing for bankruptcy except with unanimous creditor approval. B. The court may authorize post-petition financing under 11 U.S.C. SS 364 if it determines that the financing is necessary for the debtor's operations and that creditors are adequately protected. C. Post-petition financing is only permitted if secured by previously unencumbered assets under 11 U.S.C. SS 552. D. Debtor in possession must seek court approval for all transactions, including post-petition financing, but unsecured credit is freely available without oversight. Answer B. The court may authorize post-petition financing under 11 U.S.C. SS 364 if it determines that the financing is necessary for the debtor's operations and that creditors are adequately protected. Explanation: under 11 U.S.C. SS 364, debtor in possession (DIP) is allowed to obtain post-petition financing to continue business operations while restructuring under Chapter 11. The court may approve such financing if the DIP demonstrates that it cannot obtain unsecured credit on reasonable terms, if the financing is in the best interest of the estate, and the lenders are given protections, which may include super-priority administrative expense status or liens. A is incorrect because unanimous creditor approval is not required for post-petition financing. Rather, court approval is required to ensure fairness to creditors. C is incorrect because SS 552 governs the treatment of pre-petition security interests and does not restrict how post-petition financing can be secured. D is incorrect because while court approval is necessary, unsecured credit may be incurred in the ordinary course business without court oversight under SS 364A. Question 3. Topic: Discharge of debts. Non-dischargeable debts in high-stakes environment where multiple challenges impact financial decisions. Debtor who filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy seeks to discharge $120,000 federal tax debt that was assessed 4 years before the bankruptcy filing. The IRS objects, arguing that the tax debt is non-dischargeable under 11 U.S.C. SS 523A1. Which of the following is the most relevant condition that determines whether federal tax debt is dischargeable? A. The tax debt must have been due at least 3 years before the bankruptcy filing, and the tax return must have been filed on time. B. All tax debt is automatically non-dischargeable under federal law regardless of timing. C. Tax debt is dischargeable only if the debtor proves undue hardship, similar to student loan discharge rules. D. The tax debt can be discharged only if the debtor pays at least 50% of it before filing bankruptcy. Answer A. The tax debt must have been due at least 3 years before the bankruptcy filing, and the tax return must have been filed on time. Explanation. Under 11 U.S.C. SS 523A1. Certain tax debts are not dischargeable unless they meet the 3-year rule and 2-year rule. 3-year rule. The tax debt must be for tax return due at least 3 years before the bankruptcy filing date. 2-year rule. If the debtor filed the tax return late, the debt is only dischargeable if the return was filed at least 2 years before the bankruptcy filing. 240-day rule. The tax must be assessed by the IRS at least 240 days before filing. B is incorrect because not all tax debts are non-dischargeable, so may be discharged if they meet the timing requirements. C is incorrect because undue hardship applies to student loans, not tax debts. D is incorrect because partial payments do not affect tax debt dischargeability in bankruptcy. Question 4. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges arise due to competing creditor interests, a business files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The debtor in possession, debt, continues to operate the business while formulating a reorganization plan. During this process, the debtor seeks to obtain new financing from a lender, but the existing secured creditors argue that the debtor does not have the authority to grant the new lender priority over their claims. Under what circumstances can the court approve such financing and grant the new lender priority status? A. The court cannot grant priority to new financing under any circumstances, as existing secured creditors' rights are always superior. B. The court may approve new financing under DIP financing provisions if the debtor demonstrates that the financing is necessary to preserve the estate and no other alternatives are available. C. The court may grant priority to the new lender only if the existing secured creditors consent to the arrangement. D. Debtor in possession can obtain new financing without court approval as long as the business remains operational. Answer. B. The court may approve new financing under DIP financing provisions if the debtor demonstrates that the financing is necessary to preserve the estate and no other alternatives are available. Explanation. In a Chapter 11 bankruptcy case, a debtor in possession, DIP, is allowed to obtain new financing to maintain operations and restructure its debts. However, such financing must be approved by the bankruptcy court. U.S. Bankruptcy Code under 11 U.S.C. SS 364 allows the court to grant super-priority status to new lender under certain conditions. Specifically, if unsecured financing is unavailable, the court may allow the debtor to obtain secured credit by granting priming liens, which take priority over existing secured creditors. To approve DIP financing, the debtor must prove that the financing is in the best interest of the estate and necessary for reorganization. The debtor must show that alternative financing sources were explored but were not viable. Option is incorrect because the Bankruptcy Code provides mechanisms to grant new financing priority in specific cases. Option C is incorrect because while creditor consent is factor, the court has the power to approve priming liens even without consent if certain conditions are met. Option D is incorrect because court approval is required for DIP financing and the debtor cannot unilaterally grant priority liens. Question 5. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a debtor in a Chapter 7 liquidation bankruptcy seeks to reaffirm a debt on a car loan to retain possession of the vehicle. The creditor requires the debtor to sign a reaffirmation agreement. Which of the following is a requirement for a valid reaffirmation agreement under bankruptcy law? A. The reaffirmation agreement must be approved by the bankruptcy court if the debtor is not represented by an attorney. B. The reaffirmation agreement must allow the debtor to modify the original loan terms unilaterally. C. The reaffirmation agreement is automatically enforceable without court review once signed by both parties. D. The debtor can be forced to reaffirm the debt if the creditor demands it. Answer A. The reaffirmation agreement must be approved by the bankruptcy court if the debtor is not represented by an attorney. Explanation. Under 11 U.S.C. SS 524 C. D. Reaffirmation agreement is voluntary contract in which debtor agrees to continue paying debt that would otherwise be discharged in bankruptcy. Valid reaffirmation agreement must meet the following criteria. It must be entered voluntarily by the debtor. It must not impose an undue hardship on the debtor. If the debtor is not represented by an attorney, the agreement must be approved by the bankruptcy court to it. It is in the debtor's best interest. Option B is incorrect because the debtor cannot unilaterally modify the loan terms without the creditor's agreement. Option C is incorrect because reaffirmation agreement is subject to court review, particularly if the debtor lacks legal representation. Option D is incorrect because the debtor cannot be compelled to reaffirm debt. Reaffirmation is strictly voluntary. Question 6. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional irregularities, a bankruptcy trustee identifies a series of transactions in which a debtor transferred assets to family members before filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The trustee initiates an adversary proceeding to recover these transfers. Under what legal doctrine can the trustee seek to void these transfers? A. The trustee may avoid these transactions under the fraudulent transfer doctrine if the transfers were made with actual intent to hinder, delay, or defraud creditors. B. The trustee may recover these transactions only if they occurred within 10 years before the bankruptcy filing. C. The trustee has no right to challenge these transfers since they were made before the bankruptcy petition was filed. D. The trustee must prove that the debtor received fair value for the assets before challenging the transfers. Answer A. The trustee may avoid these transactions under the fraudulent transfer doctrine if the transfers were made with actual intent to hinder, delay, or defraud creditors. Explanation. Under 11 U.S.C. SS 548 fraudulent transfers avoidable if the transfer was made with actual intent to defraud creditors, actual fraud, or the debtor received less than reasonably equivalent value while being insolvent or becoming insolvent. Construct defraud. Option B is incorrect because the statute of limitations for fraudulent transfers under federal bankruptcy law is generally 2 years, although some state laws extend the look-back period. Option C is incorrect because bankruptcy law allows trustees to call back fraudulent transfers even if they occurred before the petition date. Option D is incorrect because transaction can be fraudulent even if the debtor received some value. What matters is whether it was reasonably equivalent and whether the debtor was insolvent at the time. Question 7. In a large organization where multiple departments need to coordinate to achieve a seamless asset distribution during a Chapter 7 liquidation, a bankruptcy trustee is tasked with allocating the debtor's limited estate among various creditor classes. In this scenario, the debtor has secured creditors holding perfected liens on collateral, priority unsecured creditors, including administrative expenses and wage claims, and general unsecured creditors. Dispute arises when group of unsecured creditors contends that the trustee's distribution plan improperly favors administrative expenses over their claims, while secured creditors insist that the proceeds from collateral sales should satisfy their claims before any other disbursements. Considering the statutory framework provided by 11 U.S.C. SS 726 and pertinent case law, which of the following best reflects the correct order of priority for asset distribution in Chapter 7 proceeding? A. Administrative expenses are paid in full before any creditor claims, followed by general unsecured creditors, with secured creditors receiving any remaining amounts. B. General unsecured creditors receive payment from the remaining estate first, then secured creditors are paid out of the proceeds of collateral sales, followed by administrative expenses and priority claims. C. Priority unsecured creditors are paid before secured creditors. Administrative expenses and general unsecured claims sharing any residual funds. D. Secured creditors are paid from the collateral proceeds first, then administrative expenses and priority claims are satisfied, followed by distribution to general unsecured creditors. Answer. D. Secured creditors are paid from the collateral proceeds first, then administrative expenses and priority claims are satisfied, followed by distribution to general unsecured creditors. Explanation. Under Chapter 7 the Bankruptcy Code, specifically 11 U.S.C. SS 726, establishes hierarchy for asset distribution. The proper sequence generally is: secured creditors receive payment from the proceeds of the sale of collateral up to the value of their liens. Administrative expenses and other priority claims, such as wage claims and certain tax obligations, are then satisfied from the bankruptcy estate. Finally, any remaining funds are distributed to general unsecured creditors. Pro rata basis. Option D is correct because it accurately captures this statutory order. In contrast, options A, B, and C mistake the priority. They either improperly elevate administrative expenses or unsecured claims above secured claims, contrary to the principle that perfected security interest secures creditors' claim from the outset. Understanding these priorities is critical for law exam candidates as it underscores the balance the Bankruptcy Code strives to achieve between creditor rights and equitable treatment in asset liquidation. Question 8. During a critical transition period where existing processes must be reevaluated, a debtor filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy seeks to discharge all of their outstanding debts, including a substantial student loan debt incurred several years ago. The debtor argues that all obligations should be wiped out to allow a fresh financial start. However, the creditor representing the student loan insists that student loan debt is non-dischargeable unless the debtor demonstrates undue hardship, notoriously stringent standard. The debtor, unable to provide convincing evidence of such hardship, contends that the discharge should extend to the student loan as well. Which of the following statements best reflects the legal treatment of student loan debt under the Bankruptcy Code? A. Student loan debt is automatically dischargeable in Chapter 7 bankruptcy if the debt was incurred more than 5 years prior to filing. B. Student loan debt is generally non-dischargeable unless the debtor successfully demonstrates undue hardship, standard that requires clear and convincing evidence. C. Student loan debt can be discharged if the debtor repays at least 50% of the total obligation before filing for bankruptcy. D. Loan debt is dischargeable only if it is reclassified as unsecured debt through separate court process prior to the bankruptcy filing. Answer. B. Student loan debt is generally non-dischargeable unless the debtor successfully demonstrates undue hardship, a standard that requires clear and convincing evidence. Explanation. Under current U.S. bankruptcy law, student loan debt is treated as non-dischargeable unless the debtor meets the exceptionally high standard of proving undue hardship. This standard, applied in adversary proceedings, typically requires showing that repayment of the loans would impose a severe and lasting financial burden, often evaluated using the Brunner test or a similar framework. Option B correctly explains that the burden of proof is high, generally requiring clear and convincing evidence, making discharge of student loans extremely difficult. Option is incorrect because the mere passage of time does not render student loans dischargeable. Option C is also incorrect. A partial repayment does not affect dischargeability under bankruptcy law. Option D is inaccurate because reclassification does not occur through separate court process to discharge student loans. For exam preparation, students must understand that the statutory presumption is that student loans remain non-dischargeable, and only in rare cases where undue hardship is proven can these debts be wiped out. Question 9. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional breakdowns, a debtor who has recently filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy finds that several creditors have initiated or continued collection activities, including lawsuits and repossession efforts, despite the filing. The debtor argues that these actions violate the automatic stay provisions, which are designed to halt all such collection efforts immediately upon the filing of a bankruptcy petition. However, some creditors claim that their actions are not subject to the automatic stay because they were initiated before the filing or are exempt under certain statutory exceptions. Which of the following best explains the scope and effect of the automatic stay provision under the Bankruptcy Code? A. The automatic stay applies only to lawsuits initiated after the bankruptcy filing date, leaving pre-filing actions unaffected. B. The automatic stay immediately halts all collection activities, including those initiated before the filing, subject to certain limited exceptions. C. The automatic stay has a limited effect and does not prevent secured creditors from proceeding with repossession actions against collateral. D. The automatic stay is only to unsecured creditors, while secured creditors are exempt from its provisions. Answer. B. The automatic stay immediately halts all collection activities, including those initiated before the filing, subject to certain limited exceptions. Explanation. The automatic stay is a fundamental component of the Bankruptcy Code designed to provide immediate relief to debtors by halting most collection activities upon the filing of a bankruptcy petition under 11 U.S.C. SS 362. The automatic stay applies to all actions by creditors to collect debts, foreclose on property, or otherwise enforce claims, even if the actions began prior to the filing, subject to certain narrow exceptions, such as criminal proceedings or actions not affecting the debtor's property rights. Therefore, option B is correct because it accurately reflects that the automatic stay is broad in scope and effective immediately upon filing. Option is incorrect because the stay is not limited solely to post-filing actions. Option C misinterprets the extent of the stay. While some repossession actions may involve additional court review, the stay typically covers such efforts. Option D is incorrect because the stay generally applies to both secured and unsecured creditors, although secured creditors may later seek relief from the stay under specific circumstances. For exam success, students must be able to articulate both the breadth of the automatic stay and its limitations. Question 10. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a bankruptcy judge oversees an adversary proceeding in which a creditor challenges the discharge of a substantial portion of the debtor's unsecured debts on the grounds that the debtor committed fraudulent conduct during the bankruptcy process. The creditor alleges that the debtor engaged in deceptive practices that should render the discharge void. In this complex litigation setting, the judge determine the appropriate burden of proof to evaluate the creditor's allegations. Which of the following best describes the standard of proof that the bankruptcy court is likely to apply when evaluating the creditor's fraud claim in an adversary proceeding? A. The court applies the clear and convincing evidence standard to establish that fraudulent conduct occurred. B. The court uses the preponderance of the evidence standard, which requires only that the claim is more likely true than not. C. The court relies solely on documentary evidence, disregarding oral testimony, to determine fraud. D. The court evaluates the claim under the beyond reasonable doubt standard as fraud allegation. Bankruptcy are treated as criminal matters. Answer A. The court applies the clear and convincing evidence standard to establish that fraudulent conduct occurred. Explanation. Fraud claims in bankruptcy adversary proceedings, especially those challenging the discharge of debts on the basis of fraudulent behavior, typically require the creditor to prove the allegations by clear and convincing standard of evidence. This heightened standard is employed because the consequences of finding fraud can be severe, include denial of discharge and potential civil or criminal penalties. Option is correct because it reflects the judicial tendency to require more persuasive evidence than the preponderance standard, though it is less rigorous than the criminal standard of beyond reasonable doubt. Option B is incorrect because mere preponderance standard is generally insufficient for fraud claims in this context. Option C is inaccurate since courts consider both documentary and testimonial evidence. Option D is incorrect because, while fraud in criminal context demands proof beyond reasonable doubt, bankruptcy fraud claims in adversary proceedings are civil matters subject to the clear and convincing evidence standard. Question 11. In an evolving regulatory environment where compliance frameworks are frequently updated, an insurance company operating across multiple states must adapt its policies to align with recent legislative changes in consumer protection laws. A major amendment now mandates insurers to provide clear disclosures on policy exclusions and claim processing timelines. However, the company's internal review finds that some policies contain ambiguous wording that could mislead policyholders regarding their coverage. Which of the following actions should the insurer take to ensure compliance with the new regulations while maintaining operational efficiency? A. Continue using existing policies without modification, arguing that historical precedent allows for broad interpretation of exclusions. B. Conduct an internal audit of all policy documents, update the language for clarity, and retrain customer service representatives to accurately explain exclusions. C. Rely on third-party agents to clarify policy exclusions verbally instead of revising written policy terms. D. Challenge new regulations in court to avoid costly policy revisions and maintain current business practices. Answer. B. Conduct an internal audit of all policy documents, update the language for clarity, and retrain customer service representatives to accurately explain exclusions. Explanation. When new regulatory standards are introduced, businesses, particularly in highly regulated industries like insurance, must promptly adapt to maintain compliance. Consumer protection laws are designed to prevent misleading or deceptive practices, and policy exclusions can lead to regulatory penalties or litigation. Option B is the correct choice because conducting an internal audit ensures that the company identifies and rectifies unclear language. Updating policy documents ensures compliance and mitigates potential legal disputes. Retraining customer service representatives ensures that consumers receive accurate and consistent information. Option is incorrect because relying on historical precedent does not supersede updated consumer protection laws. Option C is incorrect because verbal clarifications are unreliable and could lead to miscommunication and legal disputes. Option D is incorrect because challenging a well-established consumer protection law would likely fail and could damage the company's reputation. Question 12. When introducing new policies that significantly alter the rights and responsibilities of employees, a national logistics company revises its workplace safety guidelines in response to stricter Occupational Safety and Health Administration (OSHA) regulations. The revised policy imposes mandatory safety training every 6 months, introduces stricter personal protective equipment (PPE) requirements, and enforces zero-tolerance penalties for safety violations. However, some employees argue that the new rules unfairly penalize minor infractions and create an overly punitive work environment. How should the company balance regulatory compliance with fair and effective workplace safety enforcement? A. Strictly enforce all penalties without exception to demonstrate full compliance with OSHA regulations. B. Implement a tiered penalty system that differentiates between minor and major infractions while ensuring compliance. C. Allow employees to opt out of training and PPE requirements if they feel the policies are too restrictive. D. Roll back the stricter penalties to avoid employee dissatisfaction, prioritizing morale over regulatory requirements. Answer. B. Implement a tiered penalty system that differentiates between minor and major infractions while ensuring compliance. Explanation. Workplace safety policies must comply with federal regulations while also ensuring fairness and practicality for employees. A tiered penalty system helps balance compliance with fairness by distinguishing between minor violations e.g. forgetting PPE was and major violations e.g. disregard of safety procedures. Option B is correct because it maintains compliance with OSHA mandates while allowing flexibility in enforcement. It fosters a culture of responsibility without creating a hostile work environment. It mitigates legal risks by preventing excessive penalties for minor mistakes. Option is incorrect because a zero-tolerance approach can create fear and resentment, reducing employee engagement. Option C is incorrect because opting out of safety regulations would violate OSHA laws and expose the company to liability. Option D is incorrect because rolling back penalties entirely could lead to non-compliance and workplace accidents. Question 13. In a scenario where long-term strategic planning requires both innovation and risk mitigation, a manufacturing company must decide whether to invest in automated robotics technology to enhance production efficiency. While automation could increase output and reduce labor costs, it also requires substantial upfront investment and poses potential risks related to workforce displacement and cybersecurity vulnerabilities. What is the most strategic approach the company should take in deciding whether to implement automation? A. Immediately adopt full automation to maximize efficiency without considering labor impact. B. Conduct a comprehensive risk-benefit analysis including workforce transition plans and cybersecurity safeguards. C. Avoid automation entirely to maintain job security for employees, regardless of efficiency gains. D. Implement automation selectively in high-risk areas without conducting extensive risk assessment. Answer. B. Conduct a comprehensive risk-benefit analysis including workforce transition plans and cybersecurity safeguards. Explanation. Strategic planning requires balancing innovation with responsible decision-making. Option B is the best approach because a risk-benefit analysis ensures that financial and operational risks are considered. A workforce transition plan helps address job displacement through reskilling programs. Cybersecurity safeguards are critical for preventing data breaches in automated systems. Option is incorrect because immediate full automation could lead to unintended consequences such as employee dissatisfaction and security risks. Option C is incorrect because avoiding automation entirely may result in competitive disadvantages. Option D is incorrect because selective automation without risk assessment could introduce unforeseen vulnerabilities. Question 14. During periods of economic uncertainty that require careful financial decision-making, a multinational corporation is reviewing its capital investment strategy. The company has several competing priorities, including expanding into new markets, upgrading infrastructure, and maintaining financial reserves for potential downturns. Which financial strategy should the company prioritize to ensure long-term stability while enabling growth? A. Allocate all available capital toward market expansion to maximize revenue growth. B. Maintain A balanced approach by diversifying investments across multiple strategic areas. C. Focus exclusively on cost-cutting measures to preserve liquidity in uncertain times. D. Delay all major investments indefinitely until economic conditions stabilize. Answer: B. Maintain a balanced approach by diversifying investments across multiple strategic areas. Explanation: in times of economic uncertainty, diversification is key to maintaining stability while allowing room for growth. Option B is the best strategy because it balances expansion with financial security. It avoids overcommitting resources to one area while still pursuing strategic goals. It mitigates risks associated with unpredictable economic conditions. Option is incorrect because overinvesting in market expansion without maintaining reserves could lead to financial instability. Option C is incorrect because focusing only on cost-cutting may hinder innovation and long-term growth. Option D is incorrect because indefinitely delaying investments could cause the company to lose competitive advantage. Question 15. As organizations increasingly prioritize data-driven decision-making in competitive industries, a healthcare provider is considering implementing predictive analytics to improve patient outcomes. The new system would use AI-driven algorithms to forecast patient deterioration, recommend early interventions, and optimize resource allocation. However, concerns arise regarding data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the potential over-reliance on automation in clinical decision-making. What is the best approach the healthcare provider should take to implement predictive analytics responsibly? A. Fully automate clinical decisions to maximize efficiency and reduce physician workload. B. Use predictive analytics as a decision support tool while ensuring final decisions remain with medical professionals. C. Avoid implementing predictive analytics due to concerns about data privacy and potential bias. D. Rely exclusively on historical patient data without integrating real-time monitoring systems. Answer: B. Use predictive analytics as a decision support tool while ensuring final decisions remain with medical professionals. Explanation: predictive analytics can enhance clinical decision-making, but it must be implemented with caution. Option B is the best approach because it ensures that medical professionals maintain authority over final decisions while benefiting from AI insights. It minimizes the risks of algorithmic bias and over-reliance on automation. It leverages predictive capabilities to improve patient care without compromising ethical considerations. Option is incorrect because fully automating clinical decisions could lead to harmful errors and liability issues. Option C is incorrect because avoiding predictive analytics altogether prevents advancements in patient care. Option D is incorrect because real-time data is crucial for accurate and up-to-date predictive insights. Question 16. When organizations expand into international markets where cultural and regulatory differences affect business operations, a US-based retailer is preparing to enter the European market. The company must navigate GDPR as general data protection regulation, compliance, cultural differences in consumer behavior, and local labor laws that differ significantly from US regulations. Which strategy should the company adopt to ensure successful international expansion? A. Apply the same business model used in the US without modification to maintain consistency. B. Conduct a comprehensive market analysis to adapt business strategies to regional regulations and consumer preferences. C. Hire only US employees to oversee international operations to maintain corporate culture. D. Delay expansion until European regulations become more aligned with US business practices. Answer: B. Conduct a comprehensive market analysis to adapt business strategies to regional regulations and consumer preferences. Explanation: international expansion requires understanding and adapting to local regulations and market conditions. Option B is the best approach because a market analysis helps tailor strategies to regional consumer behaviors and regulatory requirements. Adapting business practices ensures compliance with DDR and local labor laws. Cultural awareness improves brand reception and customer engagement. Option is incorrect because ignoring local differences can lead to compliance violations and poor market penetration. Option C is incorrect because excluding local employees can hinder business adaptation and regulatory compliance. Option D is incorrect because waiting indefinitely for regulatory alignment could cause missed opportunities. Question 17. In the context of corporate social responsibility (CSR) initiatives aimed at enhancing brand reputation and stakeholder engagement, a technology company wants to launch a sustainability program that includes carbon footprint reduction, ethical sourcing, and social impact projects. However, some executives worry about the financial impact of sustainability investments on short-term profits. How should the company integrate sustainability initiatives without compromising financial performance? A. Invest exclusively in sustainability programs, even if it reduces short-term profits. B. Develop a measured sustainability strategy that aligns with business objectives and generates long-term value. C. Avoid sustainability efforts to maintain profit margins and shareholder returns. D. Implement sustainability initiatives only if competitors do the same to avoid competitive disadvantage. Answer: B. Develop a measured sustainability strategy that aligns with business objectives and generates long-term value. Explanation: sustainability can enhance long-term profitability when strategically integrated into business models. Option B is correct because a balanced approach ensures that sustainability aligns with financial goals. CSR initiatives can improve brand loyalty, attract investors, and mitigate regulatory risks. Sustainable practices often lead to cost savings in the long run. G. Energy efficiency waste reduction. Option is incorrect because prioritizing sustainability without financial planning can jeopardize business stability. Option C is incorrect because ignoring sustainability can harm brand reputation and long-term growth. Option D is incorrect because waiting for competitors to act results in lost leadership opportunities. Question 18. As organizations face increasing scrutiny over ethical leadership and corporate governance, a financial firm discovers that one of its senior executives has engaged in unethical accounting practices to manipulate quarterly earnings. While the firm has an internal compliance program, no immediate legal violations have been identified, and some board members argue that exposing the issue could damage investor confidence. What should the company do to uphold ethical leadership and corporate governance principles? A. Ignore the issue since no legal violations have been found. B. Conduct an internal investigation, implement corrective actions, and reinforce ethical compliance measures. C. Dismiss the executive quietly without addressing systemic governance weaknesses. D. Delay any response until external regulators raise concerns. Answer: B. Conduct an internal investigation, implement corrective actions, and reinforce ethical compliance measures. Explanation: ethical corporate governance requires proactive action when unethical behavior is identified. Option B is correct because an internal investigation ensures transparency and accountability. Corrective actions help prevent future ethical lapses and reinforce investor trust. A strong compliance framework strengthens the organization's reputation and regulatory standing. Option is incorrect because ignoring ethical issues can lead to long-term reputational damage. Option C is incorrect because firing one individual without addressing systemic issues fails to prevent recurrence. Option D is incorrect because delaying action increases the risk of regulatory penalties and legal consequences. Question 19. When companies navigate digital transformation to improve operational efficiency, a retail chain is considering implementing blockchain technology for supply chain transparency. However, executives express concerns about implementation costs, technical complexity, and resistance from existing supply chain partners. What is the best approach to integrating blockchain technology effectively? A. Implement blockchain immediately across all supply chain operations. B. Conduct a pilot program with selected suppliers to evaluate feasibility and benefits before full implementation. C. Avoid blockchain due to complexity and cost concerns. D. Rely on traditional supply chain tracking methods to maintain simplicity. Answer: B. Conduct a pilot program with selected suppliers to evaluate feasibility and benefits before full implementation. Explanation: blockchain can enhance supply chain transparency and efficiency, but a phased approach is critical for smooth integration. Option B is correct because a pilot program allows for risk assessment before full-scale adoption. Testing with selected suppliers helps address technical challenges. Gradual implementation reduces resistance and ensures smooth adoption. Option is incorrect because immediate full-scale adoption could lead to operational disruptions. Option C is incorrect because avoiding blockchain may cause missed efficiency and security opportunities. Option D is incorrect because traditional tracking methods lack transparency and security benefits. Question 20. As businesses strive to enhance cybersecurity resilience against evolving threats, a financial services company faces increasing cyber attacks targeting customer data. While the firm has basic cybersecurity protocols in place, ransomware attacks and phishing attempts have increased. What should the company prioritize to strengthen its cybersecurity posture? A. Implement multi-factor authentication, continuous monitoring, and employee cybersecurity training. B. Rely solely on its teams to manage security threats without involving employees. C. Ignore minor cyber incidents to avoid unnecessary alarm. D. React to cyber attacks only when major breaches occur. Answer A. Implement multi-factor authentication, continuous monitoring, and employee cybersecurity training. Explanation. A proactive cybersecurity approach minimizes risks and ensures compliance. Option is correct because multi-factor authentication enhances access security. Continuous monitoring detects threats in real time. Employee training reduces human errors that lead to breaches. Options B, C, and D are incorrect because they leave the company vulnerable to cyber threats. Question 21. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a large supply chain network, a multinational manufacturing firm notices recurring delays in shipments and inventory shortages. Initial investigations reveal that supplier bottlenecks, inaccurate demand forecasting, and inefficient warehouse management contribute to the problem. Which approach should the company take to resolve these issues effectively? A. Implement real-time tracking and predictive analytics to improve demand forecasting and supply chain visibility. B. Increase inventory levels across all warehouses to prevent shortages, regardless of forecasting accuracy. C. Reduce reliance on technology and revert to manual tracking for better oversight. D. Focus only on supplier performance without addressing internal inefficiencies. Answer A. Implement real-time tracking and predictive analytics to improve demand forecasting and supply chain visibility. Explanation. Using real-time tracking and predictive analytics improves demand accuracy and enables proactive decision-making. Option is correct because predictive analytics help optimize inventory levels. Real-time tracking improves supply chain transparency. It addresses multiple root causes rather than focusing on a single issue. Options B, C, and D fail to resolve the broader supply chain inefficiencies. Question 22. In a situation where resource allocation becomes a growing challenge for a software development company, multiple teams report that limited access to cloud computing resources and overburdened infrastructure are slowing down progress. Some departments overutilize resources, while others experience delays due to insufficient capacity. What is the best strategy to optimize resource allocation? A. Implement a dynamic resource allocation system based on real-time usage and demand forecasting. B. Assign fixed computing resources to each department and prevent reallocation. C. Reduce the number of projects to match current resource availability. D. Allow each team to independently request additional resources without central coordination. Answer A. Implement a dynamic resource allocation system based on real-time usage and demand forecasting. Explanation. Dynamic resource allocation ensures efficient distribution while adapting to fluctuating needs. Option is correct because it prevents resource overuse while ensuring availability where needed. Real-time monitoring helps maintain system efficiency. It enhances overall project workflow without unnecessary delays. Options B, C, and D create inefficiencies and fail to optimize resource distribution. Question 23. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a global financial institution experiences a major cybersecurity breach affecting customer accounts and critical operations. While its teams work to contain the threat, senior leadership must decide how to communicate with customers and stakeholders without causing panic. What is the most effective crisis management approach? A. Provide clear, transparent, and then timely updates while reassuring stakeholders about the mitigation steps. B. Delay public acknowledgement of the breach to prevent damage to the company's reputation. C. Focus solely on technical containment without addressing public concerns. D. Announce the breach immediately without a mitigation strategy in place. Answer A. Provide clear, transparent, and timely updates while reassuring stakeholders about the mitigation steps. Explanation. Effective crisis management requires transparent communication and swift action. Option is correct because timely updates maintain public trust. Transparency helps mitigate regulatory and reputational risks. Reassurance ensures customers remain engaged rather than withdrawing their options B, C, and D either delay response or fail to manage stakeholder expectations. Question 24. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a hospital is transitioning to a centralized electronic health records system. However, different departments use varied documentation methods, leading to data inconsistencies and workflow disruptions. What should the hospital do to ensure a smooth transition? A. Standardize documentation procedures across departments and provide comprehensive training. B. Allow each department to maintain its own record-keeping style for flexibility. C. Rely on automated system corrections instead of retraining staff. D. Postpone implementation until all departments voluntarily agree to adopt the system. Answer A. Standardize documentation procedures across departments and provide comprehensive training. Explanation. Standardization ensures consistency and interoperability across departments. Option is correct because a unified process prevents data inconsistencies. Training ensures smooth adoption and compliance. It improves collaboration and patient care efficiency. Options B, C, and D lead to continued inefficiencies and resistance. Question 25. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges must be addressed, an aerospace company faces simultaneous budget constraints, supply chain delays, and regulatory changes. Engineers are concerned that these pressures will affect the quality and safety of new aircraft models. What is the best approach to balancing these competing challenges? A. Prioritize safety and compliance while adjusting timelines and budgets accordingly. B. Reduce compliance oversight to accelerate production and meet deadlines. C. Shift to lower-cost materials without considering safety implications. D. Delay projects indefinitely until all challenges are resolved. Answer A. Prioritize safety and compliance while adjusting timelines and budgets accordingly. Explanation. Safety and compliance must remain the top priority in aerospace manufacturing. Option is correct because compromising safety can lead to catastrophic failures and legal issues. Adapting timelines ensures that quality remains intact. Regulatory compliance is non-negotiable in aviation. Options B, C, and D compromise quality, safety, or business viability. Question 26. While examining inconsistencies across various units, a multinational retail chain notices that sales reporting methods differ significantly between regional branches. As a result, corporate leadership struggles to analyze performance trends accurately. What is the best way to resolve this issue? A. Implement a unified sales reporting framework with standardized metrics across all branches. B. Allow each region to continue using its preferred reporting method. C. Centralize reporting under a single department without changing existing data formats. D. Focus only on the highest performing branches and ignore inconsistencies elsewhere. Answer A. Implement a unified sales reporting framework with standardized metrics across all branches. Explanation. A standardized framework ensures consistent, accurate reporting across all regions. Option is correct because it allows corporate leaders to compare performance effectively. Standardized metrics improve data-driven decision-making. It enhances transparency and operational efficiency. Options B, C, and D fail to address the root issue of inconsistency. Question 27. During a major transformation where existing methods must evolve, a logistics company is shifting from manual inventory tracking to AI-driven automated systems. Some employees resist the change due to concerns about job security and system reliability. What should the company do to ensure a successful transition? A. Provide training and highlight how automation enhances efficiency rather than replacing jobs. B. Ignore employee concerns and proceed with full automation. C. Keep the old manual system as a backup without integrating AI. D. Delay implementation until all employees voluntarily accept automation. Answer A. Provide training and highlight how automation enhances efficiency rather than replacing jobs. Explanation. A smooth digital transformation requires addressing employee concerns. Option is correct because training helps employees adapt to new technologies. Framing automation as an enhancement rather than a replacement reduces resistance. A structured transition minimizes disruptions. Options B, C, and D either dismiss concerns or hinder progress. Question 28. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple departments, a large financial services firm notices that project completion times have nearly doubled over the past year. Investigations reveal that increased bureaucracy, redundant approval processes, and ineffective communication are contributing to delays. What is the most effective strategy to improve efficiency? A. Streamline approval processes, remove unnecessary bureaucratic steps, and improve cross-department communication. B. Hire additional staff to handle the increased workload without changing existing processes. C. Implement A strict time tracking system to monitor employee productivity. D. Reduce team sizes to improve agility, even if it means overburdening key employees. Answer A. Streamline approval processes, remove unnecessary bureaucratic steps, and improve cross-department communication. Explanation. Efficiency improvements require structural changes to remove bottlenecks. Option is correct because streamlining approvals reduces unnecessary delays. Improving communication enhances coordination across departments. Eliminating redundancies ensures that resources are used effectively. Options B, C, and D do not address the root causes of inefficiency and may create additional issues. Question 29. While updating traditional approaches where interconnections between legacy IT systems and modern cloud platforms are causing frequent service disruptions, e-commerce company struggles to maintain seamless online shopping experiences for customers. What is the best approach to modernizing the infrastructure? A. Adopt a phased migration strategy that gradually replaces legacy systems while maintaining business continuity. B. Shut down all legacy systems immediately and switch to a cloud-based solution without transition planning. C. Maintain legacy systems indefinitely to avoid potential disruptions, even if they are inefficient. D. Migrate only non-critical functions to the cloud while keeping core processes on an outdated infrastructure. Answer A. Adopt a phased migration strategy that gradually replaces legacy systems while maintaining business continuity. Explanation. The phased migration ensures a smooth transition without major service disruptions. Option is correct because it allows continuous operations while upgrading systems. A step-by-step approach minimizes risk and ensures compatibility. It enables thorough testing before full deployment. Options B, C, and D either introduce sudden disruptions or prevent full modernization. Question 30. During a seamless transition where continuity must be ensured, a national healthcare provider is merging two hospitals with different electronic health record systems. Doctors and nurses are concerned about patient care continuity, data accuracy, and workflow disruptions during the transition. What is the most effective way to handle the merger of these systems? A. Implement an interoperability solution that allows both systems to communicate while gradually transitioning to a unified platform. B. Immediately switch to a new system and require staff to manually transfer all patient records. C. Keep both systems running indefinitely without attempting integration. D. Allow each department to choose which system they prefer, leading to decentralized data management. And so A. Implement an interoperability solution that allows both systems to communicate while gradually transitioning to a unified platform. Explanation. Interoperability solutions allow hospitals to merge data without disrupting patient care. Option is correct because it ensures continuity by allowing both systems to function during the transition. Gradual integration reduces the risk of data loss or errors. It supports staff adaptation to the new system over time. Options B, C, and D lead to data inconsistencies, operational inefficiencies, or workflow fragmentation.